Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Teri at Holding Your Space, and we have with us today BC Barton. So be sure and like and subscribe to the channel today. And if you haven't already, and then also if you want a reading or any other information from BC, this is her email that's listed, bcbarton9@gmail.com. And you can get a reading or just ask some questions, and it's amazing information that comes in. So I've had healings from you, and my family has, and it's always an honor to have you on, BC.
Thank you. I just love being with all of you.
Yeah. It's old home week. It is like having your grandma on, though you could be my sister, but
I love it. I couldn't wait. I had kids so I could become a grandmother.
oh,
Because I had the greatest, most amazing grandmother who totally prepared me for my life to come. She died on my 9th birthday.
wow.
Yeah.
That's a really special number too, 9.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, grandma's really important. Really important. Yeah. That's hard.
I met this medicine man from Hawaii a long time ago, and he was trained by his grandmother in ancient techniques and talked about having to, at 5, suspend himself off the side of a cliff for minutes at a time. And she passed everything on to him because there were no girls in the lineage. And so he went by the name of grandmother.
Wow.
So we have a grandmother in all of us.
Yeah. Rainbow Rising Freedom's here today. Aloha.
Hi.
And she's in Kauai. That's beautiful.
He's from Kauai. It's been a long time ago. I don't even remember his name, just that he was called grandmother.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And a lot of the old traditions, there were like 3 sexualities, right? There was and it was all interchangeable.
Right.
It wasn't really like it is here sometimes, but with Pride Month, it's all changing.
Yes.
So I'll just say hi to a few people before we get started too much. Got a lot to talk about. Liz and Oz here. Standing in the Light with Annie Bear Seven Feather. Hello, beautiful. How are you? Richie's Reach is here. Both of these people have amazing channels. So if you ever get a chance, go by there as well. Hey, CJ, how you doing? And Rainbow Rising Freedom, aloha. Martha Bean, hello. Oh, good. Lori's here. Hey, Lori. Good afternoon. How are you? Yeah, it's so nice to have everybody here. Hypnicity, beautiful. Amanda Carroll. Oh, your grandma Elna was very important to your young life. That's beautiful. Yeah, my grandmother Mutti, she was a doctor. She was German. And she came over after the war to the United States and immigrated with my mom. She was formidable, but she was also very eccentric, and she would dress my brothers in their pajamas thinking they were sunsuits and make them go outside and play. But anyway, so I'm totally at home with anybody that wants to fly their freak flag. Anyway, Joyful Journeys here. Hello, beautiful. So nice to see you. And Paul Freed. Hey, Paul. What's up? I'm so glad you're here. In Pennsylvania. Yeah. You're going to love BC. So BC, it was also Reverend Saul's partner. And Reverend Saul took care of the mantras in the Vedic form often, and you took care of the light, right?
Focusing with the light and color. It
Yeah.
all works together.
Yeah. And we were talking backstage. We've already done the whole show, you guys, in like 5 minutes. we were talking backstage about the light and how it's changing, and we're awakening. So it's the perfect time to do this because everybody here has been talking about that, and we've been talking about in the tribe of having some days that you feel like you're walking underwater, in the trench, and other days when you are barely hanging onto the earth. So, oh my gosh, Lori. And Lori's saying, yeah, saw a report that the largest solar flare in 13 years occurred yesterday.
Oh,
It affects the heart. Well, perfect time to be on then. Yeah. So, and we were talking about working with the light, but where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the energies of the
well, I'd
crystal?
like to talk a little bit about the light. And when we were talking earlier, we talked about as humans, we put our own interpretation on certain words so that we think they mean one thing when there's so much depth and richness to what even one word means. And the word that I wanted to talk about is light. We talk about, we turn on the light switch. Each of us have our own understanding and experience of the light. And part of the process going on the planet is that we're awakening as the healer within, and we're doing what we're here to do on the planet, each of us in our own way. So we are the light. And I remember early on when I got started, I was 25 and I'm 80 now. So it's a long time ago. And there weren't teachers around really at that time. So that's when Saint Germain came into my life and actually became a real teacher for me. And he introduced me in his own way in time to the other ascended masters and teachers who work with me. One of the major things they talked about is the light. And at first they would tell me if I would get emotional or feel upset and down. I was a single mom with 4 kids and nothing from their dad. So I would sometimes just feel like there were insurmountable odds. And I would hear his voice saying, focus on the light, BC. And I would realize that instead of looking at the whole light, I was allowing myself to focus on something that was taking me away from the light, taking me away from being in the holy instant who I really am. And so then later it graduated to be the light, BC. And that is really what I'd like to talk about today, because each of us is this, we talk about our light bodies, and in a way, that's who we really are. We're not this physical form that we think contains us. We are light. And I'm an empath, so along the way, I once I was under a psychic attack for 2 years. And what I learned as a result of that is that love was the only thing, and compassion for the attackers that I could actually see, told me their names. That love and compassion just stopped them. Even I saw one break up into pieces and fall. So we are light. We are love. Love is light. And everything. I used to think about the universe as being this place that was cold and hard, and look at the formations of planets and explosions of energy forming this and forming that. And we're little humans here at the mercy of all that stuff. And the truth is that it's all light, and it is glorious, glorious love flowing and creating and reforming. And it's our interpretation of it in our physical bodies and our egos, which feel fear, which keep us from recognizing that it is all love. And even the things that come up in our lives that seem like they're, again, insurmountable problems, they're there to show us how to remember who we are and be who we are as light and as love. And I remember when way back I was raising my kids. Let's see, Ginger was 6 years old, so it was 1979, 77. And I was having this terrible experience with the empathy that was so powerful. My mother had a stroke in Pennsylvania, and I was working at a doctor's office in Carrollton, Texas, and I collapsed with the stroke that she was having. And when my gifts opened, I asked for everything to be taken away for a while except empathy. I knew that that is what I had to have to work with people. And so that was the time Saint Germain appeared for the first time. And I was attracted to this group called the Aquarian Foundation. They are still in existence in Seattle. They started a center in Dallas. And the teachings were channeled by the Ascended Masters. And it was absolutely amazing and magical. And one of the first things that they had us do, my children took all the classes and were at all of the channelings too. And one of the first things they taught, and I got it, this was especially powerful for the children, is working with light. Light is light. And they told us to select 2 patches of grass to focus on each people. One, focus about how amazing grass is as God's creation. The other as, what a bane to the world. Awful. Grass is awful. And just do that for a couple days. And it was amazing. The plot of grass that was focused with love and light just grew. Honestly, you can try it. You can try it with 2 plants even. And the one that negative thoughts were sent to withered up. And so I remember that it made me realize about when I had been unhappy and upset, even years before that, before divorcing my kid's father. I knew that I caused things to happen. I caused a nightclub to catch on fire. Nobody was hurt, but I did. And I didn't do it on purpose. It was just my energy and my focus. I was using my light to send. I didn't think start a fire. It was like I was just mad at that place. And the same thing happened with my then husband's truck, brand new truck. The engine blew up 3 times before it got out of Florida, and we were living in the middle of Florida. It just took me a while, but I think that is such a powerful lesson for all of us, and each of us in our own way, I know, have experienced that or suspected that. But that's how powerful we are. And we really are creating with our thoughts. The story about the creation from the Jewish point of view is God created light, and then everything else was created from the light. And then I had an experience where this booming voice said in meditation, and the light became the sound, became the word. And I just think that it is so important that we can remember that we are creating our reality with our thoughts and our words. And it's the same thing as working with just plain sound or light or vibrational frequencies. We are light. We are creating what we're experiencing in our reality. And I love it. I love it that all of you are remembering who you are and touching everybody you know or everybody you think of with your light and your peace and your harmony. And when we can remember that we are present, we're awake, and we are light, that's the whole reason for being here.
It is, isn't it? And it's like, I love this because hearing you say this and going through that story, it was just such a big opening for me. And it feels like once we start remembering that, as people here have been going through, and like your third eye opening up, your heart chakra opening up, and being able to hear things and see things. And for years, everybody here has been having, the buzzing in the ear, and now that's totally changed. It's at a completely different frequency as the light's coming in.
Yeah.
And and yet sometimes because we're on this planet, it's easier to think of things in a linear fashion and to look at I am the violet flame, I am the magenta flame, I am the blue ray, and it's but it's all one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It all comes from the white light,
Yeah.
all of it. And I was telling Teri earlier that in my experience working as a healing channel, before I even knew who they were for sure, the ascended masters would come in and to work with the people I was working with and to teach me as I was working with the people. And I would see them in color frequencies, in rays. And then later on, I've come to understand that an ascended master and each one of us, as we remember who we are, we're working with all the rays. Just we are light. And I see people as configuration of light frequencies, whether we're in the body or not. And each of us have our own signature light frequencies. So we might be more attracted to one ray of light or another. And definitely each and every one, the violet ray, the golden, each and every ray can be applied for understanding and wisdom and healing for ourselves and for the planet.
Yeah. And it is interesting, isn't it? Hypnicity, you ask for the white light of protection every day. And Annie's saying rays of unfoldment. I love that. And Annie was saying that she teaches herself by screwing up lately. That's what the ninjas say, the gurus. So, we do, that's how we learn. That's how a child learns. And that's what we are. But I don't know where I was going with that. I just lost track. We were talking about pitter patter, and that's me. But sometimes we do. We come in here and we have that soul path or a contract, whatever you want to call it, something that we want to learn, something that we want to give in this lifetime, something that's needed. And when you get to a certain point, it's just light and love, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I think it really helps to remember that we don't see it because we're human and we're in a dual polarity reality, and our ego self is programmed to see the pain and the fear and the hatred and the upsetment. And the truth is that it's all light, and that what we focus on is what will manifest. And I really think that a lot of us are here on the planet right now to focus, to be the light that we are, because that is sparking the light in everybody else awakening. And I think that all of us, for sure, I feel that. And so many people, I've seen the lights on the planet in meditation, like lights. And there are more and more and becoming stronger and stronger. And we're all one. When we focus on the light, when we be the light, when we refuse to buy in to the negativity, when we refuse and we focus on the light and work with love instead, we are giving that energy to every other being on the planet. And when we can receive that back, that is a big key, because, I have been all my life really good at giving love, at receiving enough love so that I can give it. And then I had an experience where I was facing a situation with my heart that was scary. And one of my friends called me up and said, BC, I'm supposed to tell you that you have to open up now and receive from everybody you gave to. Heart. And I did. And it was like, it makes me want to cry. What I really got was that I had been blocking them from the joy and their role in giving.
That's huge, isn't it?
It really, really is.
Yeah. Yeah. As empaths, we want to give and we want to heal. And I feel like, especially when we're in that pain body and we're going through life, whether that's because of a divorce or death or whatever that's happened, whatever, and usually that's written into our contract, or we decided, hey, this is really going to wake me up. This is a great idea.
Absolutely.
On the other side. And then you get here and you're like, what was I thinking? But it's really beautiful because we go through that and things awaken. But you got that point, or at least I did, BC, where I was still the empath. I was still intuitive, but I was using my own energy. I was not receiving. I was just giving. And that can only happen for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we want to be the light that we are, if we want to light up the world, we have to receive more and more. And you and I were talking backstage about the way that we are able to receive more and more and express more and more of the light that we are is by looking at ourselves and what is keeping us. What judgments do we have of ourselves and of the world that are keeping us from doing what we're here to, from being the light that we are? I should stop talking, people.
No, it's excellent. It's excellent. Oh, this is what Debbie shared yesterday, Annie Bear. Yeah. That's everybody's coming in with the same gifts right now. And we're all like the blue light. How many channels got the blue light, the diamond light? How many people came in with the diamond light and the pink light, the golden light? It's just been everybody around the planet is getting something right now, and a lot of us are on that same wave. So it's like a renaissance.
As we awaken, we're all on the same wave, just each of us with different frequencies and configurations of life that we're here to receive so we can share.
Yeah. They're showing me a playground with lots of little kids and everybody's got a different kind of toy.
I love it.
Yeah. Something, and I do feel like we're all playing with it. I mean, this light is just so much fun, and the colors are so much fun, and the designs. I was talking to my daughter as we were walking today about meridians and chakras, and is it all just divine, what's it called, divine design, or sacred geometry? I mean, whatever you want to call it, it's like it's just pretty, isn't it? Some of it is just like, that's just what I want to call it. It's so pretty. Lori, You've been seeing diamond sparkles in the sky at night for weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, there's so much like that, isn't there? And guys, we'll be doing questions if you've got any questions for Grandma, and we'll probably won't do any personal questions, but things that are more for the group today. Richie said, "Wow, I never thought that the rays of light that I could see could be the masters. I just see the light and feel the energy, and that is usually overwhelming."
Yeah. Some people see the light, the rays, the frequencies, and if you want to, you can hold that, remember, feel that light, that frequency, and ask to be shown, and you can see the being that is there as well. We have full spectrum, all the gifts. Some of us are just more comfortable with some than with others.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody. I sometimes I'll do a video in the morning when it's still dark of the orbs that come into my room, and it's because we call in 33 trillion angels all the time, right? That's part of it, but it's just like it's fun because they're playing, they're dancing in the light,
Yeah.
and that's the way I see it. But they come in differently for everybody. Everybody gets it differently. Maybe it's music, maybe it's your senses, and then I think let's talk about that. Oh, wait, we've got one more question that I want to go through before we do that. And then I want to move on to the other part of that. Jeff asked a great question. Hello, Jeff. Tarot asked backwards. Are we light and not souls?
Our souls are light.
And our souls are, would you say that our souls have a personal like DNA structure?
Yes, on the spiritual level.
Yeah.
We have our own consciousness for each individual, and we are light beings. Our souls are light as well. If you think about it, really, even our physical bodies are light. It's just slowed down frequencies of light.
And we're light having an experience of consciousness, aren't we? In different forms.
We are, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And let's see, I think we had one more, and then I want to talk about that next part of it. Okay, I love this, Teresa. Sometimes we fight the idea that we are lovable. You're going to learn it no matter how much you fight it. I love you. Oh, it's so beautiful, Teresa Ford. I love that.
And that's just because we've been programmed to think we're not lovable. And I agree with you, Teri. We take on, we set up what we want to learn, and then we get the lessons that we need to learn from. That's also what we want to share with others as they awaken. So the very challenges that we chose to work through are the very ones that are the gifts that we give to those who are attracted to our light.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I think that explains why some people come into this lifetime and they have, they're different than others. And they give their parents the opportunity to experience that, and their partners, right?
Yeah.
To learn that difference. Teresa says, there's a reason we're as different as snowflakes. Every one of us is a spark of God here to experience, each as important as the other.
Yes.
I love that.
There's this story I heard about God, whatever name you want to give to Source, deciding that she wanted to experience themselves in all these different ways and all these different fragments. So in a way, we are Source or God expressing as individual awareness and yet as one.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and not only that, but like if you think about the multiverse and if everything's going on at the same time,
Yeah.
and we have all these, like, what if we would have gone left instead of right? In what universe is that happening? We're expressing that. We're that our consciousness is expressing that in so many different forms as the whole. So, and then my pitter patter brain goes to a different sign, but
I love it. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, okay. So let's get on to that because we were talking about an awakening as our senses awaken, then our subtle senses awaken. And when that as this happens and we're getting into that, it is all about just walking into the light and we've talked so many times about limited belief systems, but turning the switch on that we are the light and everything is the light and everything is possible and it's possible in every density at all times. So why can't we jump up to 12th density and come back, right? Because we are one. Yeah.
I think that uh, a whole lot of the awakening process within each one of us in our own way is about trust. It's about learning to trust. I think that trust is a superpower, and it's even beyond faith. And it's like Saint Germain teaches about spiritual law and three things. I've said this before. Spiritual law: if you ask a question, the answer will come. Period. Spiritual law. If you discern a problem, the solution exists simultaneously. Spiritual law. Just remembering that will get you out of the rut of being stuck in an insurmountable problem. And then the third is if you discern, brow chakra, something in need of coming to wholeness, then while not suppressing the feeling that you have, because it's on your plate if you feel it, this needs to be healed, access the healed reality. And whether you make it up or not, feel what it's going to feel like when it's healed. I have some big ones that I'm holding as healed. And not only just feel what it'll feel like when it's healed, allow yourself to feel the joy of, oh my gosh, I didn't even think this could ever really happen. And gratitude. The gratitude is what cements it. And we're creating our reality. If we're creating a situation for whatever reason we want to learn or we forgot who we are, then we can remember that this is a dual polarity reality. We can focus on and create the highest and best, even from the depths of despair and unhappiness.
Yeah. I love that, BC. What am I grateful for? That's one of the big soul questions, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it automatically raises your vibration.
It
It's
does.
like, yeah, it's like if you're anything that's happening when you can, yeah, hypnicity, that's perfect. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say. Gratitude is the fuel.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. Right? And that's so true. Not everything is shiny, is it, Annie? Um, and being thankful for that in a way, because it's like, um, I know I pitter patter around. I've got the ADD brain, and I've got other things that happen in my life that I look at. And I've certainly been through, and I would imagine a lot of us here have been through great pain in our lives that have helped us awaken, whether that's grief or shame or but it is part of that is an awakening process, isn't it?
Absolutely. And or Annie Bear, not everything in you is shiny. You're healing. And part of the healing is embracing yourself and having compassion for yourself because you're a human. It's the human part of us that tends not to be shiny. And the whole process of awakening is loving and integrating who we really are with that blessed, beautiful human self.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about listening, because awakening, a big part of awakening is listening, isn't it?
Yes.
Listening to the universe, listening to the light, and and it's such a great metaphor, I think, because on this planet as children, at least when I was growing up, we were not taught how to listen. We were taught, and as empaths, as we're growing up, I think, I don't know about you guys, but especially with my kids and my old partner and stuff like that, it was like, you know, if they would tell me a story, I would try to fix it. So I wasn't giving that exchange of energy. I wasn't allowing them to come to that conclusion on their own. And a good teacher does that. And it really teaches us to listen, and listening to the big picture. Yeah, listening until you can see. Thank you, Hypnicity. That's perfect. And it's like, you know, my daughter went through this program, and I saw the changes that it made in her. And then I went through it. And that was one of the first things of our handouts was listening. And we even were required to get somebody to help us with it that we could call on once a week if needed. And we had everything lined out about how you listen, to teach them how to listen, so that they wouldn't offer us these explanations, so that they would just nod. And I'm sure that felt horrible, maybe, or that must have been so hard for you. And then let the flow continue. And sometimes that's all we need when we're listening, is just to let it out and release it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that there are levels of listening too. There's listening, as you were describing at first, about getting all involved and thinking that you had to fix it so they wouldn't be in pain, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then there is the listening that is coming from observation. And
Mhm.
it's love. It's coming from love. And um, it is having compassion and being able to hear what you're hearing or see what you're seeing, but without judgment. Just hearing and listening and holding the love and the compassion. That is listening. And it reminds me of Kuan Yin, because that's what she does. And she has agreed to stay with the planet here until everyone has awakened and is free of suffering. And that's what she does. She observes and she holds compassion, doesn't try to fix it, just holds the love and compassion, knowing that they're going to find the way. Each of us will find the way to back to who we are.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Talk about grace, right? Kuan Yin. Yeah. Just amazing energy. So as this is happening and we are listening to the universe and we are listening to our hearts, which is so important. What we hear ourselves say, I've found to be a huge thing while on this planet, and during this awakening for a lot of us, is the voice that we talk, the way we talk to ourselves, and changing that voice and listening to what we say and being clear spoken is another gift that we're not given in society, perhaps, because you wouldn't tell somebody, "Oh, no, that outfit, that's not gonna work." And that's just a silly instance, but, being able to tell people, I don't feel like it today. It's, or when you ask, how are you today? Well, I'm feeling a little out of sorts. Instead, we try to make everything nice. So I feel like the kids that are born now, they don't cop into those answers. They think about it and they're quite honest, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Lori says, so true hypnicity. That was my sister's number one pain in her life. She would always tell me that I was the only one that everyone just listened to her. Wow. And yeah, right, Richie, the act of being present is
Absolutely.
huge.
That is it. And George and I really wanted to focus on teaching about Christ Buddha consciousness. And the Buddha taught, I am awake. And being awake was able to see illusion and have it just melt away because he was able to see that it was illusion. And Gautama Buddha, the real person, and Jesus the Christ teaches about presence, about it's I am awake, I am present, I am creating as the light that I am.
Wow. Yeah. I can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, being present is a true gift, isn't it?
I remember I went to a workshop one time and the whole theme was about I was going to have to be present. And I remember going, what? No. Because a part of me survived a part of my life by only being partially there.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's when each one of us is totally present as the light that we are, then the world is healing.
Yeah. So let's talk about where we're putting our energy to, just to be boring, but because if we're present right here, right now, then we're probably not thinking about other things going on the planet. Not that we're not empathetic to those other things, and not that we don't see that someone else is hurting or someone else has died or somebody else is hungry. But and we can be empathetic to that, but we don't have to be we don't have to fix that necessarily by worrying about it.
Exactly.
That's not going to help, is it?
No, not at all. And I think that being present is about being in the holy instant. It's like if we can stay in the holy instant, then we're healed and whole. I think that's what mastery is about. And I think what draws us out of being in the holy instant is all those fears and self-doubts and judgments.
Yeah, it's totally not being present, isn't it? Because and that's what they say the biggest fear is on the planet is fear of death. Often that it kind of all breaks down to that. And I've been shown my death and it's a beautiful happening. It's like a beautiful walking out of the body. And I think that was the greatest gift my guides have given me so far.
That just happened to my granddaughter. She's married to my grandson, who I think is an ascended master. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of pain and physical illness in her life. She was born to somebody exposed to Agent Orange extensively.
Oh.
She was born with some of her organs on the wrong side of the body, and brain tissue in the heart, had to have surgery, and she had seizures. And she was one of the most brilliant people I've ever known. And 2 weeks ago, she had a seizure, and she always came out of them before, but this time she just popped out of her body. That was it. She just popped out of her body. And she's still here. She's with my grandson and their two precious young boys, just as much and just as powerfully. And in a way, they miss her, of course, and they know that she is free now. She was studying neuropsychology because of her experiences, and that's what she
Wow.
do and be. But that's
Yeah.
it. And I agree with you. Death doesn't have to be a horrible, awful thing.
Yeah.
And George did help her, Annie Bear. Absolutely. He was one of 4 beings of light there. And,
Wow.
and George and I worked with her, by the way. So she had a personal connection with him.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful. The holy instant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Neuropsychology is a big deal now. And it explains a lot for me. It was kind of a big opening working with neural pathways and understanding that brain meant something. And I like that stuff. I like that stuff. And but also you were talking about her and you said that she was born with part of her brain tissue in her heart.
We all have brain tissue in our heart. In fact, there's a whole specialty called neurocardiology. And in Seattle, she had surgery on the brain tissue in her heart.
Wow. So I read an article about this recently. They're finding out there's so many different parts of our body, organs that have this, don't they?
Yes.
That have like almost a consciousness. It's like we're so powerful.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is so exciting. And wow. Those boys, what a beautiful.
Yeah, they're precious. They have helped to take care of her from the time they could do anything. Just in total love. She's amazing. She's a black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh my gosh.
And so they were teaching. I mean, she was teaching the boys and they were going to the dojo. So they're going back to the
Are
dojo.
these the ones that have some of George's cats?
Yes. They're the ones who came to visit.
No wonder those cats went there. Yeah, that's gosh, I got huge things coming in from George now. Let me tell you, I love that. I love that. Yeah, it is beautiful. It is all connected, isn't it? And then yeah, because we're all made from stardust. It's like the planet's made from stardust. We have stardust in our body. I think I don't know what the percentage is, like at least 20 or 30% crystalline energy. And it's just amazing. It's all interconnected everywhere. Yeah. Where is George's handsome cat? Annie Bear wants to know. Mr. Handsome.
In Austin, Texas.
Oh, Austin. Wow. Austin's so popular. My sister's there too. Yeah. Austin's Mr. Handsome. He always came in to get his picture taken.
Yeah. But.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a beautiful cat, Mr. Handsome.
Yeah.
So another thing, because we've got just a few minutes here, and we talked about it backstage, was being a walk-in. And sometimes when we go through like either perhaps a big medical thing or something, and our life changes. And can you describe that? How you were talking about that earlier?
I have experienced that process from 3 different points of view. And mine happened when I was in such emotional pain that I just couldn't stand the pain anymore. And I was actually in my mind visualizing the razor blades in the medicine cabinet. I was down on my knees praying, and I just couldn't hurt anymore. I never thought suicide. And when I tried to get up, I was frozen. I was paralyzed with white light and roaring. That's all I could hear. And I just kept fighting until my son, who was then 6, I had 3 little boys, came in and put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Mommy, I love you." And then it melted away. But I came out of it totally wide open, full blown psychic, and no idea of how to deal with it. My focus was being a good little Christian mother and wife, and it was, I even looked different. People would see me and not even know who I was. Thought different. The psychic experiences were pretty tense. Anyway, so for me, after learning to deal with the empathy, especially, and gradually having the other gifts open up more fully, I came to realize that rather than being a whole different person, what really happened was a higher aspect of myself had come in to take over a part of myself that could handle everything that I had taken on my plate. And then I saw I had a natural health education center in Dallas, and I had a client who was a wealthy young man and had gratitude because he started with nothing. So he would come in and tell me what he had done for somebody anonymously. They wouldn't know. So he came in this one day and said, "I thought I hadn't done anything for anybody yesterday, but I did." He said that his employee had been in a terrible, terrible accident in one of the company vehicles, and he had been in a coma for 2 weeks. And I had like between sleep and awake, this voice called to me, "BC, BC," 3 times. And finally I said, "What?" And he said, "You can help me with your love." And so when Jerry, my client, told me that, I said, "Well, can I go and see him?" And so I met him at the hospital. He came out of the coma. He looked me in the eyes. He couldn't speak at first, but he said his first words. His fever was super high and went down when I put my hands on him. Then he put his hands on me back, and he put his hands up my throat, and it scared me because he's this big, strong man, but he's looking in my eyes with tears running down his eyes. And I got it. He was recognizing that I had been choked, and he was healing me. And so I went to see him 2 more times after that, and I brought him a crystal. But by the 3rd time, he wasn't remembering now. His family had come in to help him to go back to just regular. But he was, and I think that, again, was a walk-in of his higher self. And then I had a friend later who experienced what she thought was walk-in from the other point of view. I remembered being the person who was in pain. She remembered in her experience being the one who saw the pain and came in and took over the body and released the person who was in pain as per request. It only happens by request.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing than possession by negative energy because you're whatever.
Yeah. I've had orbs show up before that were like I used to live next to a hospital, or quite close to a hospital,
Yeah.
and light bodies would come into my apartment at night. I didn't know how I knew what to do, but I did, and I'd call in Jesus and Saint Patrick and Archangel Michael, just because those are the ones I knew at the time,
Yes.
and and they'd take them. They were gone, but
Yeah.
or I'd ask them to leave if they didn't want to go. They couldn't stay there,
Yes.
but
Totally get it. Yeah.
yeah, Lori says, thank you for sharing that, grandmother. I have been near death 4 times since 2012. Something has changed in me every time I live through those events. I'm in awe of having this knowing now.
Oh, that's
Wow.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Laurie.
Yeah, that is so amazing. Um, yeah, home to source,
Yes.
right?
Right here in physical form. Bring it on home.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
Yeah. Hypnicity asks, she says, I've had several big medical events in my life. Is that common for empaths?
Yep, I think that it is, especially if the medical event was mirroring something that somebody else had going on. And it can be actually being so empathic and not realizing that you're taking on that energy and it causes the medical event in your life.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So in the East, there's this Vedic thing that some of the Buddhist monasteries, the monks will do it. And it starts with an M. Somebody here probably knows the name of it, but it's where you walk out of your body. Like the story that you told of George is a classic walking out of your body. But um, and you walk out of your body in joy and light. And they say that walking out of your body with a sense of this joy and wonder or light in your light body and not in fear changes the consciousness of the next lifetime, or it elevates everything.
Right. And
Yeah.
it could be the whole point of the lifetime is
Yeah.
to overcome that fear. As you said, fear of death is the greatest fear for humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Rainbow Rising says, I recommend practicing energy hygiene. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Teresa, is it all that the deep pain that brings us to the instant now, and that expands us so greatly that more of our soul can fit into our beingness?
That's an interesting way of putting it. I I think I think that's right, that the pain expands us. I think so because what caused the pain is what was keeping us really from our own beingness. Whatever caused the pain was keeping us from our own beingness. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know, Teresa, if you want to expand on that. Um, yeah, I think that pain, a reset. And she says, yes, it does. I think that pain, that reset does make us, and we all had that, right? Around the planet with the pandemic. And we had it certainly with different regimes around the planet have caused a reset because people are saying, I'm not going to take that, or taking away somebody's power for their body or power to love who they want, or to get a job like anybody else. Um, and in prisons, like that's another thing. There's so many things that give us a reset on this planet that I think we're going to be making changes to.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It helps to clear energy and of other people and stay healthy.
It does. And
Yeah.
and I um I still do. I still use the violet flame and the blue light and the golden white light, different frequencies that occur to me when I'm in need of it. And I'm finding now that more and more when I'm needing to do something like that, clearing the energy of other people, it's helping me to remember to be the light that I am, really to radiate love and presence to such a degree that nobody else's negative energy can possibly enter into my experience. That's a
Yeah.
whole, that's a whole different skill set.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. Isn't it? It's like, yeah, um, keeping everything clear. So there's, witnessing awareness, and we use that term a lot in our meditations, but that witnessing awareness where you're at that state where you see what's happening, and you can feel, um, on the personal level or the conscious mind level, perhaps, you can feel the pain of what's going on, and you're watching yourself feel that pain.
Yes,
Like you're in a movie, you're witnessing.
that's what I was saying. I was using the word observe, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the same.
same thing.
And that's being present as true self when you're able to be in that phase where you're witnessing. It's taken me a long time. And the gift of empathy for me has really become a gift because I can use it to sense where my hands should be. And I can use it to sense how the energy should be flowing without even thinking about it. It's like I'm using the empathy in that way and not
Yeah.
just being a garbage can.
Wow. Silver Star Priestess, yes, and thank you for coming. Or no, thank you for sharing. I'm coming to realize, listening to walk and stories of people's experiences. This is what happened to me. I almost died several times since 2010. Took me years to heal a lot of it. Oh, bless you, Silver Star. You're such a beautiful light. We love having you here. Um, I like thinking about a reset, right? Yeah. A reset is a good word for it.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes or we use the term FGO too. We used to a lot. Effing growth opportunity. But but reset's a lot nicer, isn't it?
You're right, that Dan.
Oh, I love that, Tracy. Yeah, like a big bang, but a personal one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. Oh, yeah, hi, Sonia. Yeah, come back in as this was a beautiful day with everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here again, and I hope you'll come back next month.
I will.
Um, we'd love to have you. I'm going to be in England with the family, so for a few weeks, 3 weeks. So I can't wait to see everybody and then come back because I know I'm going to miss everybody. Denise, so beautiful, ladies. I can't wait to hear the replay. You were literally putting out a big fire in the yard. Get out of here, Denise. I'm so glad everybody's safe. Yeah. Hypnicity, observe without judgment makes life easier. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and action, because just looking at Denise, I mean, she was putting out a fire literally, and what a metaphor as well, right? But action, because we're on this planet, and that's kind of the magic part. Like we can observe and we can be grateful for what we want, but then adding action to that. And action that's magic,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah, that's alchemy when you add the action.
Yes.
So it's totally cool. All right, everybody. Yep, jolly old England. I can't wait. I lived there on in a different lifetime. I totally like a different dimension is I'm there all the time. These people are I love this place, so it's gonna be easy peasy. Anyway, like this here. So thank you all for being here. What a joy. And thank you so much, BC. I am going to put up BC's information again. If anybody wants a reading or a healing with BC, please contact her at bcbarton9@gmail.com, all lowercase. And are you available, or are you like really booked for a few months? Or
It all seems to flow together. I'll
okay.
be attending a funeral pretty soon, but
Yeah, I'm so sorry about
it's
that.
all flowing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever needs me, it always works out when it's supposed to be.
I love that. All right, everybody. Liz and I have 3 NDEs, worked with the dying for a few years. Your stone, if I have one, will say, was
Oh.
just passing through. What a ride. You need to have one just for that. Hypnosis, I think a lot of us were there during King Arthur's time, right? Yeah. I won't be going for 10 days. So, all right, everybody. Well, have a beautiful weekend. We'll see y'all later.
Bye,
Bye-bye. Lots of
everybody.
love.